Nation, what's going on? Episode 716, and this is someone who I guess started as a guest of the show, and over the last 2 years we've gotten to know each other, and just from a personal standpoint, I really respect how you operate and how you lead specifically. You have a team of salespeople under you. I've gotten to know Eric Myers really well. Brock is just killing it. The Wharf has just joined the team, and I really respect how you give your team autonomy, but also kind of guide them. And I think you're very knowledgeable in the market as well. So you guys know Jesse Craig. He's from PWCC. And over the last year and a half, I can't name a business that's grown leaps and bounds like PWCC by doing right by their customers, right? You see all of these improvements, additions to the business. We all knew they had the vault. We all knew they had the premier auctions. Now weekly auctions are killing it. We have the fixed marketplace. There's so much stuff that they're doing. And I feel like you guys are one of the cream of the crop where businesses that put customers first. So I'm really excited. We'll talk a little bit about PWCC because believe it or not, Cage, I don't know if you get these DMs, but I get them. A lot of people are now starting to send their card from our audience are new to the hobby. They just got in and they're starting to, I want to send my cards to PWCC. I'm buying them weekly. I told you a buddy Andre who bought the Tom Brady patch card from the weekly auction just this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about PWCC, a little bit about the market, and a little bit about National. So a little bit longer today intro, Cage. I apologize, but
this is like one of my intros. I love it. Keep going.
Welcome Jesse to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Good to be here. It's been too long. And what is this episode 700 and something? Good Lord.
716.
That's crazy.
Something like that. I don't even know how many episodes. We get the number wrong every time.
I was listening to something you did, kind of like a short segment. I think Alex Jaimo does this really well, like kind of like the quick hitters. And I think it was last year you were talking about, market prediction or like kind of what you're feeling. And you said 2022 will be kind of the year of vintage, right?
Actually, she asked him, what's going to be hot?
What's going to be hot?
He didn't say, there were people who were like, Alex, you're hot in 2022. Jesse did not do that. He did not, but he had a different answer. He took it a different way, right? He took about the market, right?
Right. Yeah. It was vintage. I believe that with the meteoric rise that we had in a lot of these modern and specifically the ultra modern cards, that they were going to eventually struggle. And if there was our economy was due for some kind of pullback, right? Whether it's a full-blown recession or just a pullback, but I'm not an economist, so I don't know, I don't want to speak too much on things that I don't
gibberish
understand. But I figured that if that was going to happen, then the things, when markets struggle, it's usually the high risk assets and the commodities that struggle the most because the commodities are readily available. You don't have to buy this one this week because you can get one next week or the week after. And then the high risk assets are the first thing that people dump. So for me, vintage was kind of being undermined by a lot of these high-end assets or high-end modern assets. And I just felt like it still had a lot of legway and runway to go up in value. And that's why I felt like once those things start struggling, well, then vintage will have its time to shine.
Cage, did you get a chance to see, guys, I recommend this Chris Hodges story. It was
yesterday.
From a few days ago. It was
I love Chris, but sometimes you have to dedicate an hour to the stories, and they're all useful. It's a worthwhile hour. Is it the one where they've broken down the indexes now to the pre-war, the vintage, the modern, and then the different charts?
I love that. I did. I loved how he did that.
Pre-war is before 1945. Vintage is 1945 to 1983. Modern is 1984 to 2008, which I find interesting. And then ultramodern is 2009 to present. And just like you said, ultramodern's killed it the last 4 years, right? But just this last year, pre-war is up 71%, vintage is up 40%, modern is down 9%, and ultramodern is only up 20%. And is that lower supply? Is that just the reason? Scarcity? What do you guys what's the theory to that?
Cage, you go first.
Well, if we're
Cage
talking about
pre-war,
if we talk about what's funny, the first thing that I thought of with that was it's a different definition of vintage, and I wonder if that's now something that maybe Collectors Universe, PSA is going to also adopt. It used to be pre-1971 was vintage. Although I'm sure there's probably not a lot of people out there who would look at a 73 Hank Aaron or, one of those cards and think it's not vintage anymore. Things have to change over time. I get, 83, you're talking about still cards that are 40 years old or older is vintage. I'm pretty vintage, I guess, right? That's right around me, right? 72, I look at that, I'm like, that's older than me, so it's got to be vintage, But that was the first thing I thought of. The second thing is, we talk about this, man. It's a flight to quality, right? It's when there's uncertainty, people go to what they know. People go to what is certain. People, go to stuff that has a track record. No matter how good an ultra modern card is, or the comps for similar cards or similar players, they don't have a long track record. I mean, cards in general do, but some of these guys, they don't have a track record, and there's these multi-million-dollar modern sales. It's a new phenomenon. So I'm not saying that's not going to happen, and I'm not saying that the ultra modern segment is due for a major correction. I'm sure there are some great assets that will continue to go up. We see them sell every day, the right cards, the right ones. But it's a natural human thing to kind of say, all right, you know what? These things have been doing this for the last 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. I can go back. All right, I see some spikes. I see this. But if I put my money there now, it's safer. It's less volatile than having it somewhere else. And you know what? When the market kind of calms down and, resets, I can move it out of that and put it into some more riskier stuff, or it's a place to kind of diversify.
Can I also add a little context? People out there who are listening, they might think, these are $20,000, $50,000 cards, but it's not the case. In some of the pre-war stuff, like the Ted Williams 1939 play ball, SGC1, is a $3,500 card. So these are affordable. And I've been seeing a lot more on the weekly auctions that you guys have been running. How's that been going? Because when did you launch weekly auctions?
That was weekly was in January. We did a few months of monthly. And then we pivoted towards weekly in January for more liquidity for our clients.
How's it been going? I'm just curious.
Perfect timing.
I have a blast, but how's it been going from the PWCC perspective?
Good. Look, like anybody, depending on what the asset is that's sold, we're seeing, that affect pricing. It's just the nature of the economy we're in. Stock market's taking a hit. Crypto's taking a massive hit. Rates have gone up, inflation's up, everything's kind of crazy high right now, and nothing outside of the stock market and crypto, nothing's come down from a expense perspective. So it's a unique time. But look, we've had we're the first people to create indices comparing the trading card market to the S&P 500. So we have data to go back to the 08 recession that we had and show that while trading cards did go down, they actually went down significantly less than the majority of other assets, specifically tangible assets, and the stock market. So
when I came back in 2017 to bring my money in from the stock market, that was the first thing that I looked at. You guys had those charts. You guys already had that data. It's on their site. You can find it, Andrew. It's on PWCC's website. Yeah. The best part about that is
under the research tab, right?
Yeah, research. They have them. They have their index of cards, vintage, you name it, the whole 9 yards. And it does it, and they match up against the S&P. And it is what it is. You got to go look at a little bit deeper into what those cards are, what the grades are. But you could probably figure it out if you spent a little bit of time. What cards you'd put in that type of a portfolio. But Jesse, kind of touching on, and I'll just hammer the nail home on this is. Andrew's talking about a flight to quality on cards. And he talked about how, people we know who are coming into the hobby now, or people who are listeners, are utilizing PWCC more, buying and vaulting, looking on the weekly auctions to buy cards. When I talk about a flight to quality, there's two layers to that. It's not just the cards, the assets themselves. It's where the assets are being bought and housed. And you guys are one of the few. I know we talk about weekly auctions starting in January, but you've been here forever. You know what I mean? Like, you've been here doing this forever, and the, eBay, no eBay, pre-eBay, no, and your own stuff. The business model, for lack of a better way of saying it, has not really changed. You have your 1884 Lawson's, play cards right up to, the 2022 shiny shit, right? You have it all. You run the gamut, right? And, there's and you add in tech, and you add in robots, and you add in all the other fun stuff. But people, just like they look to, more pre-war or vintage cards for a track record, mean, maybe we could talk a little bit about that, because, there seems to be a new card business that pops up every 3 minutes, a new breaker that's here. How long has PWCC been around? Because I think that people realize that when they hear that, they're like, okay, well, these guys aren't going anywhere. They know what they're doing. They know how to market.
Yeah. I mean, look, Brent's been selling cards on eBay for 20 years. He has 2 engineering degrees. He was doing it while he was, in college. And that in turn spun what is PWCC today. That's the genesis and the beginning of it. So, it must have been 1990 something, 96, 97 was the first time he sold a card on eBay, when it was very, very new. The internet was very new, dial up, all that kind of crap. So he's been on eBay for forever. Obviously we're on our own platform now, but we understand this market, in my opinion, better than most. And Brent's vision for what our market was going to become was second to none. He's the first person to ever talk about trading cards as a tangible asset, talk in that manner, as something that's investable, not just a hobby. And I mean, the vaults was being built and designed in 2017. If that gives you any indication, we were the first ones to ever have a vault for trading cards. And now it seems like everybody and their mom has a vault. So eBay just came out and launched their vault. Oh, I wonder where you got that grand idea, eBay. Yeah, I'll take a shot at eBay, because they're basically sounding like the first people to ever do a vault. Give me a break.
I was vaulting cards in 17.
It's kind of ridiculous.
100%. I was vaulting with these guys.
I was going to ask that, because 1996, to me, eBay still feels like the same business that was operating in 1996. And they do these like little kind of features. Like now they're doing live shopping. But it always feels like they're just doing it because someone else does it.
Whatnot on that, yeah.
But it doesn't feel innovative. It always feels kind of like responsive, reactive.
Yeah, because they don't know cards.
But cards are such a big part of their business.
Well, it is now. It wasn't before. So they started focusing more attention on trading cards probably late 2020, once they started seeing the numbers that were really flying in and that category taking off. But trust me, it was a very small percentage of their business before then, and they did not put too much attention towards it. Now, I'm sure times have changed. I see the money that they're spending at these shows and these crazy booths and all this kind of stuff. So they're obviously focused on the category. But yeah, no, I agree. Innovation is something that we've always really focused on and try to be first to market with a lot of things. Now we have such a large company, it's harder, which I understand eBay. To be fair to eBay, the bigger you get, the harder it is to move fast. And that's the truth. So, I will give them a little bit of grace there, because whenever we asked them to change something in the past, it was always very difficult, because also if you change code, you don't know what it's going to affect, so on and so forth. So yeah, innovation's huge. And we have innovated in the past, the first people to ever lend on trading cards. There's other people doing that now, obviously. But, we always try to fill a need that sometimes people don't feel like they know they need yet.
I mean, I'll speak from Cage and I, we do things a little different, but I think what's cool about PWCC, it works for both of us, right? So for me, you guys know I've been buying tons of cards that are like $50 and under that I just feel, grading, it's funny. Cards have gone down in value. Grading has gone up in value. And you have, in the modern era, like you have Kobe's, Shaq's, Ray Allen's, Grant Hill, Hakeem's that are like selling for like $20, right? And what I think is cool is with PWCC, I'm able to buy tons of cards. Like I bought 65 cards in that $50 range this weekend. I don't have to pay shipping on each individual card. I don't have to pay tax, right? I bought them Sunday. I paid for them Monday. I'm getting them in the mail by Thursday, all in one package. I feel like that is more of a modern way to buy cards than buying each one on eBay and having to pay shipping and having tons of little padded envelopes here.
Right.
Did you guys just like kind of stumble upon that? Or is that because you've been doing it for so long, this is what the customer needs and you're watching and you're seeing, and we need inventory for whatnot. We need inventory for lube. We need inventory for shows. Mm-hmm. Dealers come to you guys. How did you guys get to that?
Well, it's us curating and spending all the time and energy to prepare the asset, get it ready, list it, describe it, all that kind of stuff, right? Image it. We do all of the work for you. And that's part of the service offering. And so when you buy from us, it's all coming from one place. If you buy on eBay, like you said, you don't know, might be 7 different sellers, might come in a bunch of different packages. You have to communicate with 7 different people. There are advantages. Obviously, we charge a premium versus if you go on eBay and sell it yourself. There's certain thresholds where that's actually not true. But But we do all the work.
Very true.
The
work that's being talked about here, Andrew, let's not poo-poo it, right? So it provides a level of safety for transacting also with people. You put a card in the vault, right? And you want to sell it to someone while you're at National or wherever you are, right? There's a high-res image of the card. You share a link to that card with somebody, a vault to somebody, say, here's what it is. And it's not somebody taking a picture with their iPhone 8 that they're slanting the card to show a little bit less of the off-centered and try to capture the light and the flash bulb on one of the surface areas. It's a legit third party taking a picture with a high res to show any flaws or anything. That as a buyer, you're now going, okay, well, I know what I'm getting here. And then, you consummate, basically like a vault transfer. The person, it is the future here. It's almost like digital cards, if I dare say it, right? You could buy a card, never touch the thing, put it in your vault, right? Show pictures, show links, have them finalize the transaction, third party the funds,
it's instantly transferred.
And it's transferred.
It's paid. It's transferred instantly to your vault.
It's the future.
So, we've basically been doing NFTs for 3+ years. Basically, right? That's really what it is. And what people need to understand too, it's, when these assets are digitally archived with us, stored, insured, they're still your cards. You have full access, full control over them. Consider us your receiving center. Consider us your fulfillment center. Consider us your liquidity option, your lender. All we try to do is build tools and services that help the collector investor. And that's a big focus of ours. A lot of them tie into our marketplaces, but, making everything easier for the end user is a big deal to us. And that's what we really try to focus on. And, because of that, we've turned into predominantly a tech company. It's really what we've become.
Why is eye appeal becoming so popular?
Well, I think that's actually, nice pivot there. I think it's actually pretty simple. You look at a card and a card looks better. Each card in the same respective grade looks different, right? And that's the beauty of trading cards. And that's why, I love StockX. I love a lot of things they do. I knew trading cards would never work with them because each card's unique. Just because you have a PSA 7 of a card, you can't put a stock image up of that because every card looks different. Maybe this card's a little bit more off center than another card, but the corners are better than another card, right? There's all these factors that come into play when you give an overall assessment of a trading card. And so when we look at a card for eye appeal, we look at all those factors and we basically say, well, this card is really nice within the respective grade. And we give it a scale, A is the top 30%, E is the top 15, and S is the top 5. And if we give something an S sticker, we're either saying it's like one of the nicest cards we've ever seen in that grade, or we think it's undergraded. That's basically what the S sticker means. And what people need to keep in mind, and I know a lot of people in our market have heard me talk about this before, is the human element that is grading. There will always be a human element. I don't think you can ever have a computer do it. You got to have some kind of quality control with a human being. But someone can be having a good day, someone can be having a bad day, and that can affect the grade. So if you get grades back and you don't believe in it, crack it and resubmit it. That's what I would do. If you believe that card should be graded higher, give it another shot. Now, if you don't know trading cards very well, that might cost you some money. So make sure you get educated and learn what condition really is. But
that's what I'm doing with the Wilt that I bought, the top 95% one. I'm gonna crack it. I think I'm gonna get a 10 on the PSA.
The one you paid 6 and change, 100,000. But you paid almost 700,000 for.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna crack it somewhere around here.
That little guy.
10. Yeah.
See, that's pretty risky. That's I think the dollar amount does matter here.
Cage always says, "Scared money don't make no money."
That's right. Just crack it.
Yeah,
crack
that's
it
true.
Out.
Scared money.
When I win that,
either.
Yeah,
Who does the eye appeal though? Like, is that a team of people? Is it reviewed by a few? It is.
Yeah, we have a team of people that do it. Yeah,
they have a coffee shop next door. They invite the barista in. They bring some coffee and say, "Hey, what do you think? Is this really an 8?"
Oh yeah.
We
local Starbucks barista. Yeah.
The eye appeal reminds me of, and I'm sure you guys have more to it than this, but it reminds me of, I watch baseball, and they now have tech, right? And they have replays and they have slow motion and they have review. They don't have it for the pitches yet. Right. But, you watch somebody throw a pitch and the ump calls it a ball, but then they show the thing and it's like right through the strike zone. You're like, how's it a ball?
I saw one the other day that was right through the middle of the strike zone and they're all looking around like, how's
that a ball?
Yeah.
That ump is the grading companies. that on certain days.
They miss things.
They miss things,
right?
And sometimes the eye appeal, it's a second look. It's a second review of it, and it's
look,
more.
We miss things and we make mistakes too. We're human beings, so it's I am sensitive to the grading companies. They don't have an easy job.
No,
like let's be real about it. It's not an easy job. It's you're talking about you're playing with someone's money, right? Like if you give them a 9 or a 10, it can drastically impact them financially. So there's a lot of emotions at play. It's not an easy job for anybody that wants to get in the grading game. It's not all roses.
It's gotten easier recently, Jesse. I mean, it's like, oh, this is Cage's order 5, 6, 7, 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 7.
You sent in a bunch of beat up vintage.
No, I sent in shit that was 10 6 months ago.
Pack pulled Marvel from 1990.
Yeah, I had a mission to try to make a PSA 10 1990 Marvel set, and I was making really good progress on it until recently.
Okay.
Until I submitted 81 cards in January of 2020, just got them back and got 0 10s.
Wait, you say January of 2020?
January 2021, December of 2020. My bad. Yeah, January of 2021 and December of 2020.
So a year and a half?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, we're just getting them back, and no 10s, none, not anymore.
None?
One's from earlier in the year, from the same boxes, or from the same case as other boxes. I broke a couple boxes and sent the cards. Broke a couple boxes, sent the cards. Broke a couple boxes. Point being, I used to get a lot of 10s, like enough to start building a set. Not anymore. I made no progress in the last couple months. None.
I'm curious. So, like, last February was kind of a big boom, right? Mm-hmm. And we think like the retail guys got hit, but I also think you guys deal with a lot of whales, right? And typically, whales, they buy Jordan PSA 10 Fleers, they buy vintage, but that's not always the case. They also buy, Patrick Mahomes. They also buy Luka. They buy Zion. They buy modern. Mm-hmm. Let's say I spent about $1 million on those, like the modern national treasures, the one of ones. And I come to you, Jesse, and say, like, I'm like underwater. Like, I'm down like 60%. What do I do? Do you guys give portfolio advice? I believe your team does. But, like, if you do, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, look, we understand the market really well. We don't want to pretend like we're financial advisors by any means. So we would tell someone what our opinion is, take it for what it's worth. But, to be clear, the low serial numbered ultra modern stuff, that hasn't been affected as much. I'm talking about the really, really rare stuff. Now, there is seasonality involved too. We can't forget about that, right? Like this month, last month are the 2 worst months of the entire year from a seasonality perspective, because we all know that basketball cards start going down right when playoffs start, unless something drastically happens in the playoffs. Football's not active, right? So there you have the 2 sports that drive our market the most from a price perspective in the modern and ultra modern game. Most of the guys aren't playing. So those cards go. So now if you're a Luka investor, if you're a Zion, I mean, I saw some pictures of Zion recently. Like, let's all get hyped on the Zion train again, right? The guy
looks like that MJ earring now, huh? Like the bigger earrings are back.
Oh yeah. He's trying to throw it back now. So, but look, you can find opportunity even in the ultra high end market if you believe those assets or those players are going to perform. But that's risky, right? Like I always tell everyone, it's almost like a balanced portfolio. How much of your portfolio is vintage, kind of mid-vintage? How much of it's modern and ultra modern? And depending on how risky you want that thing, that's going to determine, how big those buckets are.
Buying in June for the last couple of years has always been a very good thing.
Yes. So July. So our next premier auction launches. I think it's like the 7th. It'll run for 2 weeks, and on the 21st, I believe,
right before National.
So it's a good time to buy some inventory, get liquid cash for the show if you want to submit stuff, whatever it may be. But July is going to be a good indicator, I believe, for our industry on how some prices are going to do compared to May and June. I believe they'll start ticking up for the majority of cards, the cards that have been down. I really do. And I think that August as well, preseason football, right? And that's why it's kind of like you're starting to catch this train that is the national, then it's preseason football, then basketball's right on the corner, football season's going, and that's when the really exciting time of the year for our market usually happens. Now, we have a struggling economy. So is it going to be absolute gangbusters like it's been the last couple of years? Likely not. but I do think that there's still some very real ROI plays that can be made across really, all segments of the market. You're not going to double up and triple up and be as spoiled as we have been the last few years. And that's a fact.
You also don't have Cage, you've bought cards with crypto, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When crypto sets highs, that does also impact, because you guys accept crypto as a payment, right?
We do.
So when crypto was at highs, was there more action and liquidity at those higher end places?
Oh, I don't think there's any question. I don't think crypto drives our market by any means, but it's another source of income and another currency, I guess, that can come in and affect our market. I mean, we had, to be completely frank, we had a couple cards go unpaid in this last premiere because those guys were going to pay with crypto, and it took an absolute shit. And they're like, I just don't have the money. And these are guys that have had $50,000, $100,000 paid invoices with us consistently. And they're like, I just don't have the money.
Because it tanked in a week and a half. You lost
basically,
60, 70.
So it's real. It does affect the market to an extent. And, maybe it affected extended bidding a little bit where, we didn't get some extra bids on some cards we might have because crypto took such a bath. I mean, that was a pretty drastic bath that I don't think a lot of us anticipated, especially to that magnitude. I always thought that crypto had this kind of invisible floor around 30K. I think a lot of us kind of did. And it sure blew past that. Jesus.
Can I tell you Cage's theory? Because he's actually right more often than he's not. He's not
really?
Just overlooked.
Yeah.
He says he's a saver, man. We had yesterday's episode was actually a very popular one where it wasn't really cards. We were talking about, in this economy, man, we've kind of lost sight of tried and true principles. Saving money is not even discussed. Right? It's max out all your stuff. But Cage said
it's all going to the moon.
You help me word this. Last time's high provides support for this time's low. So
right, the cycles. Right. So last time Bitcoin cycled up, its high was 18 and change.
2017.
In 2017.
Yeah.
And so what my take on it is that those ceilings, the tops from the last cycle become the floors for the next.
Got it.
And it happens more often than you'd think. And so my invisible floor for Bitcoin has always been basically the 1819 that it hit last week.
Okay.
That was the old high in 2017. And if you really read into that, while the cycle will probably take another 4 or 5 years, when it goes back up, because I do envision it will go back up. I'm not completely exposed to Bitcoin. I have some. But when it passes 69.4 or whatever the heck it was, or 7, I don't know if it ever actually hit 70, but 69-ish was a nice crypto number. They all think that's funny because they're all children. So once it goes
those
up to
children
100,
are going to be adults soon. In 5 years,
if it comes back down, maybe that new 69 high will become the floor for the next humongous, run up in 2029. Who knows? We'll see.
Interesting. That's funny. The 69 thing. I have a buddy that does some TV and some podcasts, and whenever they mention a score of a game, nice. 69 to 47. Nice.
Well, I mean, you realize what you're dealing with when on the day it's making high, everyone's like, let's pin it at 69,420.
I know.
69,420. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Oh, Andrew explained it to me.
Oh, I bet he did.
People are sleeping on Dogecoin. Have you noticed that? They don't even talk about it anymore. I want to ask you, we'll talk about that a different time. But no, it used to be the talk of town, and now no one's even talking about it. And it has network effect, and merchants accept it. But I want to ask you a different question. Why hire a sales team, right? You guys have the best tech in the game, in my opinion. A lot of companies are like, this is an expense, customer service. One of the things I like about PWCC is the customer service plus the tech. A lot of times companies either do one or the other. Why? Is it fair to say you're expanding your sales team?
Yeah, we've brought on 3 guys this month. So look, we're doubling down on everything. It's not just because the economy is struggling. We're still very, very, very bullish on this market and trading cards in general and tangible assets really in general. But the sales team is the first line of defense, even really before our customer service. So you have a direct line to your sales rep. Well, they can help you with certain things. And this is a relationship business. For a lot of the guys that frequently buy and sell, We're long-term players, we're long-term relationship guys, and so relationships are very important, and we want to make sure that we have a team that's able to support that. And look, let's be frank, it drives business, right? If we can have more guys in here that are able to do more dials and call more people and pay more attention to them and talk to them more about the services that we offer, because it is shocking to me still that some people don't understand the full capacity of what we do as a company. But it's true, it's out there, and people don't know. And so it's our job to reach out to them, educate them, and ultimately help them out and be the first line of defense.
It's white glove service. You know a little something about that, Andrew. So what's funny about it is I have a lot of friends who are in the plaintiff's bar, right? And they schmooze the unions and they do all that fun stuff, right? And they get cases. But what they'll tell you if you're out for drinks and you're being honest, it's getting the client is just the first step. Hanging on to the client sometimes is a little more difficult because all it takes is at a barbecue, a family function, my cousin's neighbor shows up and is whispering in your ear about all the great things he can do for you. He'll get you more money. Your lawyer's not answering the phone. We'll answer the phone for you. We'll be there 24/7. Just bring your case over to me. Sure. And the value that it's worth. It's sort of the same thing here, right? I mean, at the higher level, not guppies like me, but at the whale level, especially, right? Look, this is the only time I get to call myself small, Jesse. So let me have this, right?
45 pounds, right?
Right. I'm getting smaller. But,
Love it.
Jesse said it. He said, the bigger you get, the harder it is to move fast. I'm a walking testament to that. We're talking about eBay, but it applies to me too.
10,000 steps for what? 2 months now?
Yeah, since June 2nd. I haven't gone to sleep without that 10,000 steps. I'm trying to get like 12, 13,000, but it's raining today, so it's going to be a little tougher. I'm going to get out there.
What I think your team does, like Eric, I guess Eric's, I think he's a friend. You guys, the team never feels like they're selling. Like they always call and it's more like, how are you doing? How's life?
What are you? Be available, right? The people who are submitting cards, they have people who submit millions of dollars of cards to them, right? They have to be available. That person might want to move something around in their portfolio. They might want to, have a card sent to them, or hey, can we bring it to national? Or hey, I think my $3 million portfolio is overexposed to Mahomes. Which one of these couple do you think we should sell and move it into Josh Allen this season? Or I got a lot of Brady. They have the experience to do that, and it means a lot to somebody like that who can, they can pick up the phone and have that conversation with these guys who know what they're doing. There's value in that.
Like I mentioned, it comes down to relationships, right? I was the first sales guy here, and I tried to, teach what was successful for me to all these guys. But everybody comes with their own little style and flair, which is great. I like the individuality of it, but there's some core principles as a team that we adhere to. And so, it's worked out really well. We have been pretty successful as a team. And look, I'm happy to lose money on something to keep someone long term. That's really the nature of it. It is a long term relationship, and I really mean that when I say that we're in this for the long haul with our clients, and it's good business. Like people can say they're greedy because they're going after stuff short term. Well, maybe we're greedy because we're going after stuff long term. It's just a different approach.
There's a lot.
Makes sense though. You want these customers long term, not short term.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's a lot of. I think that market's healthy, and here's why I think the market's healthy. It has nothing to do with prices of cards. It has to do with participants, attention, and businesses starting out. Right. You just mentioned it. You're a first salesperson at PWCC. You were there through when you guys were on eBay. Now you build out the tech and completely what you guys offer is insane. I agree. It's crazy that people don't know all the offerings, and we'll get into that in a second. But like you've been through a few cycles. You were a salesperson. Now you're a sales manager. You're a leader. What advice, not the collector, Jesse, not the sales manager, Jesse, it's what advice would you have as like, if I was I hired you as a business consultant, what advice would you have to some of these startups that came in 2021 and they came in when everything was going well? We still want businesses in the space. We want competition. Maybe like you put your hand around their shoulder and you give some advice. What advice would you have to some of these startups?
Be ready to burn some cash. That's really it. So we actually it's kind of a catch-22. Like we can't take big risks because we have such a big engine behind us, right? So there's a lot of these, from legal risks to whatever it may be, people that are getting into, let's call it the fractional game or whatever, they're startups. And so, if they're filing with the SEC, if they're not, whatever, like they can take risks accordingly. Well, we have to be much more careful when it comes to those kind of things. So, I do believe that if you're a new company, you're just going to have to spend money. You're going to have to acquire market share. If you're just an auction house, you're going to struggle. I think you need to have additional service offerings. Obviously, a lot of people are going NFT, tech, whatever it may be. I just think it's going to take a little bit longer for people to really latch onto that. So you better have some kind of unique service offering and just try to be innovative. I mean, really, like you can't just come out and copy what somebody else did and just put a different logo on it. Like that's not going to work. Like people can see through that these days. So you really need to sit back and think about the end user in mind. Think about the collector, think about the investor, think about what they really need. And sometimes, like I said, you can come up with what they will need before they know they need it. And I feel like we've done that in the past with the vault, with lending, with all those things.
I was listening. I tuned into a 1:37 p.m. stream. So it's NFT week in NYC and NFT.
Okay.
And Kranak, Gary's right-hand man who built VFriends, was on the live. And he was talking about how Gary met with Jacob Lokum, the owner of the Warriors. Mm-hmm. And they actually had an idea. This was all live. So, guys, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. They had an idea of starting a grading company that was innovative but competed with PSA and SGC. This is the Warriors owner. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Gary left that meeting and he was so impressed. He's like, dude, you knew more about that business than they did. And he's like, those who are closest to the dirt always know what their customers need. And I think what's cool about you guys is the dirt. You're always
the terroir.
Yeah.
Right, Jesse? The terroir. That's what goes into the flavor profile of the wine.
Are we wine? He knows a little bit about a lot of things.
I couldn't hear what the hell you were saying.
I said the terroir.
There we go.
I still have two more questions for you.
Wait, but NYC, I have a joke. I
Go ahead,
I had a great idea also about NFT NYC. I should get royalties for this because I think AMC is actually doing it. AMC, the television network. Yeah. I wrote to them. They have like suggestion box online, and I told them they should just go send some cameras to NYC NFT, and they could get some like B-reels for the Walking Dead episodes. It's basically
what would be the royalty?
Yeah, who timed that shit? Everybody's net worth is 80% less than what it was 2 weeks before. And
maybe you see who the true collectors are.
You are a true collector, my friend. You and your chromie squiggle. So what are your other two questions for Jesse?
If you can share. So Eric moved to South Korea, right? Mm-hmm. About, was it 3 months ago, 4 months ago now?
Something like that. It was beginning of the year. Yeah.
Can you so I feel like South Korea is a vault. I literally think of it like your vault. I don't know what happens there. Or just Asian market in general. I don't know.
Because nothing can get out of like Asia and China, basically.
I don't think we get their media here, right? And everything's media driven. So I'm curious, how is their market doing? Here we're saying our economy is struggling. What if their economy is booming over there? Right?
I can tell you it's not.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
it's better than it was last year because Eric's there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. Eric's definitely moved the needle on all that.
He's a stimulus for the whole country.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, we have clients obviously over in China and South Korea and Hong Kong and wherever you want to call it over there in Asia. And so we have a bit of a pulse on what's going on over there. But a lot of people have been locked down and haven't left their apartments in months in Shanghai and those kind of places because of COVID. So it's still kind of brutal over there. And it's always difficult because of the communist nature of China getting anything out of there. They control everything from a media perspective, from being able to bid in auctions, like using proxy servers and all this weird stuff to try to circumvent it. It's a very complicated market over there. And, it's no surprise that, we're looking at a lot of international things right now. I think everybody is trying to kind of unlock the next phase of, the future of our industry worldwide. And so that's another, piece to the puzzle that we'll be announcing here probably in the next 3 to 6 months.
So Andrew asked you about like what your advice to a startup would be. Mm-hmm. We've actually seen some, we've worked with some, and tell me if I'm wrong here. Where I thought you might go with it is, know what you should be doing. It's great to be innovative. It's great to have tech, But let me just throw this out there. I don't think PWCC has a plan right now to break wax. Do you?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
Oh, look at that! What we
Why
just
does everyone
did
want to
there.
break?
I'm just going to start all sorts of rumors in this.
Exactly.
In this podcast today.
PWCC's breaking. No, I guess the point is, guys, I mean, you know what you're good at, right? You know what you do. You know the customer service that's there. You provide basically a all-in-one tech-driven service for buying, storing, and selling people's collections. You curate collections for people. You got customer service down. I don't see PWCC going to Target and buying a bunch of retail blasters and breaking them online, right?
You don't think that's a good use of my time?
but there are a lot of startups that. All right, so what we thought we were going to do, we gave that 10 days.
All the targets have been looted anyway.
We gave it 10 days. We're going to switch. We're going to, I mean, like
your comments are pretty valid. I think the point of the comment is you need a foundation to build off of. But before you can build anything else, you need that foundation, right? Yep. So for us, the reason I say I'm not taking anything off the table from opportunity perspective
Look what I did.
Because we feel like we have built that foundation in trying to perfect trading cards. So we focus on trading cards. We didn't, everybody else was selling video games and comics last year, and we didn't even really do memorabilia. But now I feel like we're at the place where we have spent all the time and energy and resources that we have to perfect trading cards. And honestly, it is time for us to move on to other ventures. We've got trading cards figured out. That's just the truth of it. So that's why I say I'm not taking anything off the table. We have a lot of things that we're working on. I mean, a lot of things. And there's going to be, even between now and the National, we'll have a couple of fairly large announcements to make. That
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned
we haven't made a lot of announcements.
Jesse's coming to Cigar Night.
That's it. I will be there. I will be there.
There we go. Corner them. Find out what the news is. Get the what else are they going to sell? I'm trying to think. If they got trading cards cornered, Pogs are coming back.
Oh, man, I love a good slammer.
You remember those?
Oh yeah, of course. Pogs? It was like grade school.
My God, yeah, man, Pogs.
So in December, we spoke with Peter from SGC, and he came to us. He's like, we found that when people sub one card with SGC, they're willing to sub 5, 10, and 20. All we need is to get one card in the door. They were kind of like the third player in the space. Like, we want to get to 2, and I think if we get to 2, we can get to 1. Do you think, like, how you said a lot of people still don't know all the suite of offerings that PWCC offers? Is that first ask? Is that first, foot in the door? Send us 5 cards for us to vault and put into weekly. Is it send us 5 cards, just vault them with us and see the experience? What's that first foot in the door with PWCC for some of our audience who's never used you guys?
A lot of times it's bidding, to be honest. That's the easiest. It's the lowest barrier of entry. You don't have to ship anything. You don't have to own any cards. You can start off by bidding. And we've seen that, once somebody bids once, they typically come back. There's, it's over 50% of them come back and keep bidding. So just getting them in the door and getting them started is the important part. So, you look at user acquisition costs, you look at the lifetime value of a user, all those kind of things factor in to the different marketing channels that you may take and your spend and whatever it may be. But all I know is that our marketing budget is up like 4x what it was this time last year. So we keep investing in the market and our company.
Is it working?
I think so. I think we're doing all right.
I mean, bidding is the gateway drug, because then the next thing you know, you're winning.
It is a drug.
You're vaulting, right? Then you're vaulting, and then you're selling, and it's click a button. Boom,
look,
there you go.
Bidding's addicting. Buying thing. I mean, look, why do you think Amazon's so freaking big? People buy shit they don't need all the time, right?
All the time.
And maybe you don't need that trading card, but damn it looked good that night after about 3 glasses of wine.
That's it.
So, buying is addicting, and trust me, I'm guilty of it. I buy cards elsewhere. Unfortunately, I can't buy anything off our website, but so I miss a good chunk of quality stuff.
So I have 2 questions that people are probably afraid to ask you, Jesse, but I'll ask them anyway. Sure. And, you can tell me, Kate, shut your fat mouth. I'm not answering that, but that's fine. I'll understand. Number 1, we talked about market, bringing it back to market conditions, the economy, the whole 9 yards. Without going into numbers or specifics, has there been, a substantial increase in non-payers for you guys in any of your auctions? Has it been something you barely notice? Has it been something that's like, oh my God, this is a real issue now?
Sure.
Or has it just kind of been flat for the last 6 months or something like that? If you don't mind.
If you remove that one crypto guy I talked about from your auction, it is status quo.
All right. Well, that's good information, right?
Yeah, well, that's I'd have to look at weekly and see how. I just happened to be talking to our senior collection specialist this morning, and was actually getting some of those numbers from him, and saying like, "Hey, I had this last Premier shakeup." And honestly,
but no one's been running into your office with their hair on fire saying, "Oh my God, we got all these non-payers." It's
no, but look, that's also why it's Premier specifically. You know, the users are so highly curated, right? Like we vet them very heavily, and high percentage of paying is important. And we've had Premier auctions where every single card gets paid for. So that's a huge focus of ours as a company.
It's awesome. And then the next one is this. So if I have people message me about PWCC auctions, is there, I don't want to call it like a suggestion box, but I guess that's the closest thing to what I'm talking about. People who have like, oh, I had this, the 1 minute ticker was ticking down, and, it would have been easier if like I saw like a warning or, hey, the Premier auction, you know what they should do? Instead of just having it all end and you don't know if it's going to end, maybe I got a suggestion for you. Maybe if you have no bids in 1 minute, maybe a warning comes across the top of the screen and says like, there was no bids in that last minute. This is it. We're closing in 1 minute. Like auction houses do that, like
right.
Fair warning email kind of deal. Like,
you want to extend it further, basically?
Just like 1 minute. Like if there's a minute where there's no bidding, you say, all right, guys, we got no bids in 1 minute. We're giving you one more minute, like fair warning.
It's so funny because after the auction, the only complaints I ever get are for guys that were high bid on a card and that wanted it to close like ASAP. Yeah. So they'll hate that comment that you just made. But
that was just an example that came off the top of my head. But I guess my question for you is, if people are bidding, obviously the tech's always changing. If they have an idea, I'm sure you get a million geniuses, even though none of them, are as smart as the people who are actually doing this stuff. Is there sort of like an email? Should they just email customer service if they have, or are you just like, hell with you guys, we don't care?
The problem, to be frank, if it goes to CS, it'll probably get lost in the mix. So myself is probably a good.
You're opening a floodgate. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, it's fine. No, if anybody really has a suggestion, they want to send it over, I'm happy to read them, because you never know when you're going to get a great idea from somebody. It's just true. I had somebody bring something to my attention last week that was very actually important for our company that we didn't notice, and we fixed it, and it was a great suggestion. So
these are all people who bid, and then there's not a lot of them, but I know.
What was your challenge? It says item bid needed to extend item. It literally says it right underneath the card.
No, so that's weekly. That's weekly. It doesn't do that.
Oh, you got to play with the big boys.
Yeah, it doesn't do that on Premiere. No, I don't have an issue. But people will send me and say, hey, by the way, I think I was high bidder on that, but maybe I wasn't. How does it work? Or no, maybe they should do this, this, and this. And while I'm not going to say it's a good idea or a bad idea, I know if I didn't ask Jesse, I'm going to get a DM saying, why didn't you ask him about my issue? And I'm like, okay, well, now you know. Message him.
What about the guy who outbid me on the Kobe Gold Brilliance?
We had a fun one, Jesse.
He should be just banned from the platform.
We had a fun one.
Because you wanted to win it?
I wanted it so bad.
And he didn't want to pay a lot. It was a great. I wish I could.
Guess what? Another click of the button, and it could have likely been yours.
that was the greatest back and forth.
Card ladder called this a $1,500 card, and we had a conversation with Cage. What are comps? What's the value of something, right? So this is a gold Kobe Brilliance PSA 9. I think the Brilliance set from 2013. I have a crush on it right now. But I was like, I'll go up to 3,000 on this card. Double what card ladder says, and it ended at 3,800. And this guy kept, with 5 seconds left, extend. I swore I wanted to jump through the computer and rip.
Let me summarize. Hey, I think I'm going to buy this card. Really? That's the one you want? Yes, that's the one I want. I really want it. Okay, well, keep bidding then. All right, well, someone else is bidding. I'm like, well, that's what happens. Well, I don't want it anymore. I'm like, I thought you wanted it, but I wanted it at a lower price. That was basically the back and forth.
I'm not the big time lawyer in New York.
I wanted it at a lower price.
$500,000.
I want all my cards at a lower price too, man.
We all do. But hey, look, honestly, right now, June, great buying opportunity. It's just it's the truth for a lot of different mediums, or a lot of different segments in our market are great buying opportunities right now.
Explain to me, like I'm a kindergartner, why Shaq doesn't get any love amongst the whales. Why don't people buy Shaq?
I own Shaq cards and I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
What's so funny, Cage? What's so funny
too.
about the greatest big man who ever played? I would love
that's a big statement, but I'm a Laker fan. That's a big statement still. There's just it's so many different eras. Man, that's
he sunned, like internet culture sunned. He sunned people. Like he would just turn and dunk on them. He had 40 and 20 in 2000 finals.
I know. No, I get it.
Let me explain this to you in the best way I can. Now, for the 4th straight episode, you've brought up Shaq, and I'm a huge Shaq fan. Shaq got me back into basketball cards. I moved from Griffey and Frank Thomas to basketball cards because of Shaq in 1992. I'm gonna explain it to you, okay? And trust me on this because I know something about it. The hobby doesn't love the big man.
In general.
They just spent $600,000 on Wilt.
That's one person.
Is it because of his other number?
Advantage of the eye appeal on that card because a PSA 10 would sell for significantly more than that. And that card is probably nicer than most PSA 10s that are out there. So that's, I would say, a smart person. And Wilt transcends. Wilt is, the reason why Jesse said calm down about the Shaq is because of Wilt, probably.
that's part of it. But the 61 Fleer set for me it's my favorite set in all trading cards. I just love it. You have a Chamberlain rookie, an Oscar Robertson rookie, a Jerry West rookie, Elgin Baylor rookie. It's a critically important set. And there's 2 versions. There's the inaction versions as well of these guys, which are criminally undervalued also, by the way. If I could buy anything right now in this market, it'd probably be all the inaction rookies of all those guys. I just don't know why.
Inaction, 2 words, inaction. It's like a subset within the cards.
Yeah. So it's instead of like more of a portrait, it's like them shooting or dunking or whatever it may be, but it's still from the same set. It's still a rookie. It's just not their. How like the yellow Ruth is worth more than the other 3 Ruths. It's kind of similar to that. Like.
Slight difference. I would say it's more like modern cards where Tatis has a rookie, but he also has a debut card in the set, and the debut gets 0 love. That's kind of what I would say it is.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I still think it's a sweet card, and I love action photos too. People always talk about in the modern card game, well, all that image sucks. Why'd they use that image for that card? And usually they want something in action. Why the hell aren't we talking about that from 1961?
This is a sick card. There's a 1961 Bill Russell. I love the Will Chamberlain dunks a 2-pointer. This Bill Russell is takes to the air. Here, I'll share my screen.
I remember when a Wilt 10 sold in the inaction.
And I don't own any inaction cards, by the way. Just to be clear, I'm not trying to pump inaction cards.
Well, we always want to add value, and I think a lot of our audience might not even know about this set.
Yeah, so this is technically a 2nd-year card for Bill Russell, right? Because there's just 57 tops and then 61.
5th year, but second release. Yeah.
2nd-year card release. Yeah. It's like the 2011 Trout rookies, right?
Yep. Exactly. Oh,
you have 3 kids or 4?
3. Oh God, 4. Actually, 4 might be easy. It wouldn't be an odd man out.
Right. Did they collect? Do they rip? Are they into this?
Oh God, we have ripped so much Fortnite I can't even explain. Tons.
I know what I'm doing now.
And I have quite a few Fortnite cards. I've bought singles as well. I got into it with the kids. I've never played 1 second of the actual video game. And they haven't either, but they watch all the stupid YouTube videos of the dances and all that kind of stuff. And their cousins play it. And so they got super into Fortnite. We also, rip sports cards, all that kind of stuff. They love golf, so I've ripped some 2001 SP. Whenever I watch a ton of golf, so if golf's on TV, is Tiger playing? Is Tiger playing? Is Tiger playing? That's always so for the last year, basically, it's been like, sorry, no, he's still injured. But
Andrew loves Fortnite also.
I almost quit the hobby after ripping Fortnite on Whatnot.
But
there were no hits. It was just this guy's axe, this person's mustache.
You know what it is, Jesse? Like all good businessmen, he turned a loss into a win. And after opening these cards on Fortnite cards, he was learning about the things. His account on OnlyFans is feely peely, and it just gets like a crazy amount of hits now. He's the feely peely. I mean, it's just
Are you just laying on a bed with peely cards all over
that's
you?
He's dressed like a banana and he unpeels himself. I mean, it's really good. I mean, it's artfully done.
Hey, Peely is an extremely popular character. It's kind of crazy.
I have 7 boxes of these left. I don't know what to do with them. I'm going to give them away. I'm sending your kids a box of these, by the way.
Oh, you don't need to do that. Rip it.
I don't want this in my house.
He did rip it, and it was torture for him. He's like, "What the hell is this?"
Hey, okay, so I'll be honest. We ripped. I bought a pallet.
Like a pallet,
of packs. I bought 20,000 packs, and for about 6 months. We'd have friends over. We'd do ripping parties. I'd throw 20 on the table. Anybody that pulls a Black Knight for family and kids and stuff, they get $20. So these kids would hit a Black Knight and get a $20 finder's fee and all this stuff. It was a blast. I wish I could still find them.
Also look for these randomly inserted cards. Liars. We got base cards. No randomly inserted.
Wait, so out of 20,000 packs, I only hit 3 Black Knight hollows. 20,000 packs. Not easy to hit. And no. I told my buddy about it. He bought 100 packs and he hit one. Like, go figure.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I'm the cooler of ripping though, so it's fine.
No, but I mean that guy's hooked down forever.
Is that a Tim Grover line? Cooler, cleaner, and closer?
Oh yeah.
Kinda. This guy's the man. What is coming up in the next month for PWCC? Don't give us specific announcements. Save that for your IG, but tease us.
Well, clearly they're breaking now.
Yeah. And it'll be me too. Converting strictly to breaking. That's all I'm going to be doing. No. So we have a couple of big announcements that'll come before the national. One of them around liquidity, potentially 2 around liquidity, and 1 around infrastructure. I'll give you that.
Liquidity and infrastructure. I love it.
Yep, and they're pretty big deals for us, and I think one of them specifically for the market regarding liquidity.
Not that you have to sell it, but I think it's a good way to close it out, right? I always love the people who are good at doing that 30-second elevator pitch. People always tell me you have to have that ready, right? For the 4 people who've been living under a rock and don't already use PWCC for everything they're doing, if you had a newcomer coming into the hobby, someone who didn't come in the craze now, and they're thinking about bidding on PWCC, why use you guys? To quick, to a new person.
I think we have the full suite of services for everybody. So whether you're buying, whether you're selling, whether you're storing, whether you're lending, shipping, receiving, we handle everything. I mean, literally everything. Like if you want your life back and you don't want to have to open 27 eBay packages, and you don't have to pack up 7 eBay packages, and you don't want to list that card yourself, have to deal with the back and forth from the eBay seller, have a guy say he's not going to pay. We handle all of that. Your funds can live on your account. You can send them to yourself whenever you want. You can buy cards with your funds on account. You can lend via cards in the vault. I mean, we just have a slew of options, and we're going to keep evolving and adding tools to everything that we offer.
They removed the friction so you could have fun with cards, is how I see it. And
all right, feely peely. We don't want to hear about your friction.
Right?
Just, it's just kids listening.
Jesse, it's cool that I got to know you as a friend. I admire how you lead your team of young guys. That's probably the thing I respect the most about you. You're a cool dude. There's a ton of cool dudes in the hobby, but the way you lead,
yeah, for sure.
But the way you lead in the sense that you give autonomy and freedom of people to be themselves. Because I know you're the sales team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to call them sales team, but that's you give them autonomy, but you
like
give
high-end customer service. Really, is what it is.
Yeah. Guys, be you, be your personality. Don't be anything. But here's our values and principles. This is what we're about. And I think that balance is what I see from winning teams. We always talk about, what makes the Warriors so great. Draymond, Iguodala, Steve Kerr, Curry, Clay. These are completely different personalities. Yep. They have core values, but an organization, and Bob Myers, GM, and an organization, Wiggins, that lets you be who you are. Well, I'm remembering players' names.
I love
it. There's a common goal, right? And so, we always put the company first, but there's a common goal in mind for all of us, but individuality is important. And the beauty of our team too, is that, not every client is going to mesh well with every sales guy. So we pass guys around and find the best fit for them, but because it's always company first. So if you're watching this and you do have a sales guy that, you aren't super happy with for whatever reason, your personalities don't mesh, let us know and we'll figure out another guy for you. That's totally okay.
Love you, Luka Nation. Stay tuned. Saturday, PWCC weekly auction, where we kind of go through all of the listings. How many listings do you guys have on average on weekly?
6,500 to 7,000, somewhere around there, typically.
So we go through those and we do a little research to find some things that we think are cool. There's a power buyer button, which is sick. Flash, which is, auctions that are kind of late Wednesday to Sunday. Jesse, thank you so much. See you in a month.
Yeah,
I'll message you later to
nice.
fire Eric Myers and find a sales rep that I drive with a little bit better.
I don't know.
I really love that.
You can't find another Eric Myers.
I don't know if I want to.
On trees. We love you, Luka Nation. And if you're at National, come by the PWCC booth, meet the guys, meet Jesse. Awesome team.
Yeah, we'll have 2 booths at the National actually, so it'll be hard to miss. One in the corporate area and one out on the floor.
Now we see why the prices are so expensive and Luka Nation gets priced out. No big deal. See you. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luka Nation.